What's going on, people? It's your boy BCHQ back with another discussion time. Response to Johnny Gunz. Topic: fake news and fake science. Question: what do you think about it? There's a whole industry built around people fabricating news, breakthroughs in medicine, etc. Is it symptomatic of a technological age with the tech world becomes smaller with people being able to communicate, infiltrate across the world, interfering in elections, news reports, medical breakthroughs, etc. It's going to take a while to get through this video, but let's get into it. So, I don't fuck with it at all. I don't really watch a lot of news because a lot of it's fucking fear-mongering and they want you to fucking stick to your TVs like zombies and become slaves, even more than most people are anyway. Yes, there's advantages to being in a world that's filled with the technological, what would we say, advantages that we have now, but there's a lot of disadvantages as well. A lot of fake news. That's why I don't really watch the news now, because a lot of it I'm like, well, is that true? Like, I ain't got time to be stressing about that. I've got enough shit in my own life going on. But sadly, a lot of people take on the news and daily events on top of all the stuff they've got going on, and then people have breakdowns and shit because they're just bombarded with stress. So I think a lot of people need to back off and stop watching that shit. Just get on with their own lives. Does it suggest the world is becoming more dystopian, fatalistic, or nihilistic? Are people trying to create confusion for money, for fun, or because they want to bring humanity down? There is a lot of it that's based around money. As we know, like, money fucking is involved in everything. People, especially people that already have money, they've got room to play with it, so I think people do create shit just to make the poorer fucking feel even demoralised than they already do. And I do think it's a case of trying to make people think that they're not worth anything. And a lot of people need to realise they are worth everything that they want to be. But they have to block out what people are telling them, because they'll never believe in themselves otherwise. What do you think of professors helping to promote drugs through their research that don't work in order to get higher salaries or more tenure? Are they giving false hope to cancer patients, etc., or are the professors themselves victims of organisations that help fund their research, preying on the professor's ego or desire for money? If professors are promoting drugs, that is because they're getting paid for it. It's as simple as that. Or they're getting some sort of self-exposure in their career, even if it isn't to do with money, but I can guarantee you that the most of the time that it is money related. That won't work in order to get higher salaries or more tenure. That's another thing, like, they feel like if they do these things, they'll be in office longer in their careers or whatever, so they'll do it for the power side of it and the consistency to be year in, year out doing what they want to do, and even if it's taking advantage of people because they're getting the money they want. So, are they giving false hope to cancer patients? I think they are. Obviously, there is cases where they are saving lives, but I think if you looked at the numbers and did the research, that a whole lot of it would be negative, where they're just doing it for pharmaceutical companies to gain profit. Pharmaceuticals is one of the most worldwide profit organisation in the world. Like, you have to sell it, so even if it's bad for people, they're making money from it, so they don't care, so they're going to keep doing it. I think that they do use people as like lab rats, if you will, for their own research to see what works and what doesn't work. But as I said, if they're getting a ton of money, they're not really caring. Like, they might do the odd news fucking media day or whatever where they're saying, oh, this is sad, we lost this person and that, but they're doing that to keep themselves in a good light, to make people think that they're a good person, where they're not. They're doing it because they've got the money. Obviously, there's going to be probably a select few that are actually doing it to try and change people's lives, but again, look at the numbers, do your research, and I bet a lot of people, a lot of professors and medical people are in it for the wrong reasons. Is it asking too much of citizens to question everything and be so distrustful of democratically elected governments and the ethics and standards in journalism? I don't think it's asking too much, but citizens, they just can't. They can't be bothered to question everything. They feel like they haven't got enough time in their everyday lives anyway, with their children and their work, their careers, that it's just exhausting, and they don't feel that they have the time in a day to do it. I don't think. If they did, I think it would happen more. But the world we live in is fast paced and no one seems to have any time. So I think it's more of a case of fatigue and people just can't be bothered. If we distrust journalists, governments, then what about our GP, our bus driver? Where does the distrust stop? Are we putting ourselves in a conspiratorial box like a mime act, but not realising that we aren't actually in one? I think it comes down to the person you are, like how trusting you, not just in politics and worldwide events, but just everyday things. Like, I think it depends on who you are, how trusting you are. But sadly, I don't think that we can trust people. I go through a lot of experiences where people fuck me off and they treat you wrong, and it shows their true colours. So I don't trust a lot of people as it is, because the majority of the time in the dealings I've had with people ends in a negative way, and it's because they say they're going to do something and then they don't do it. So my argument is, don't say you're going to do something in the first place when you have no intention of doing that. So it depends on what sort of person you are. GP is the same as medical professionals like nurses and professors and etc. What I said earlier. They get paid to do a job. They get paid to sell pharmaceuticals. It's a business. So as long as they're getting the money they want to have the home life they want, the holidays every year, pensions, they're going to do whatever it takes. They don't really care. They're collecting their wage and they're living the life they want to live in terms of financially. They may not be the happiest people in the world because they might be working a lot, but they can provide for their children and have a big house and do the holidays every year that a lot of people won't be able to do, because they're kind of selling themselves. Their souls, because they're selling drugs that are killing people. I don't think it's like a make-believe box as you suggest. I do think it exists, but I don't think every single person is out to get people, but I think a lot of them are. With technology, we live in a self-diagnosing society where cats are looking up symptoms on the net and deciding what illness they might have, so it isn't inevitable that we are so susceptible to fake news and science. Propaganda has been around for a long time, especially during conflicts, but it is the sophisticated fake news industry, more insidious and more all-encompassing and so impossible to eradicate or avoid. I think with technology, like as I said, it's the same with watching news on the TV. It's brainwashing, and so many people fall for it. So many people I hear every day, whether it's at work, when I'm out shopping or something, that I hear stressing about like Brexit or Trump or whatever it is. And I think, what are you doing? You're not able to change things. So it's worthless that yeah, I'm all for people having a debate, but people are making themselves ill because they're stressing about Donald Trump and they're stressing about things that they'll never be able to change themselves. So I just think, get on with your life. Stop stressing about shit you can't change, because that's what the media is there for you to do. They want you to stress. They want to kill people off so the richer have more money for themselves. But people can't see that, and it really frustrates me because people think that they're not powerful because that's what they're led to believe. But you've got to change your mindset and do your research and realise that everyone has powers. Like, people don't want people to get to certain positions. But I think it's happening more and more now where I'm seeing people are more awake now to what they can do themselves and they can be a voice. But it takes a lot of us to get together to make a change, unfortunately, and not enough people want to do that. Should we care about fake news and fake science at all? We hear all the time that wine is good for you, then bad for you, and chocolate is good for you, and then bad for you. They are not fake reports, but they are contradictory. Therefore, how much worse are they than fake news? Fake news is presumably worse because of the agenda behind it. But is that the only reason it's worse? This is the thing, I see it all the time in the papers. Like, I read the paper more than I'll watch the news, and I'll see, like, they say, like, butter or sugar is a bigger killer than salt is now, or, like you said, wine is bad for you, and then the next week they reckon it's good for you. So, it just puts people on edge, because people invest in it. If they didn't invest in it, then the papers wouldn't sell, the news wouldn't sell. But unfortunately, people, I don't understand why they don't get that it's there to fucking make them stress. And this is why so many people are getting cancer and all these diseases, because it's through technology, it's through the news, it's through newspapers, it's through social media. Like, and I hold my hands up. I am kind of subject to the social media side of it. I need to cut down on that, and I have done in the past. But I stay away from the news, like I said, other than reading the newspaper now and again. I don't even do that much, because I used to do it a lot. My family do it. And I see them stressing, and I'm like, you can't change it. What are you doing? So it's pointless to me. I think that contradictory news, as you put it, is just as bad as fake news. I don't think any of them is worse than the other, to be honest. I think it's all bullshit. And people have got to realise and wake up and stop feeding into it, because the more you feed into it, the more they do it. Have you noticed that it's rare on the news that it's good news? Because it doesn't sell. We got a sick mindset, I think, worldwide, because I'm not speaking for every country, but most countries, people look to the negative and the worst case scenario, and we need to change that, because these people are getting richer and richer off of people stressing and getting illnesses. We need to wake up. Is the fake news and science industry created by billionaires to have fun with the population? Is it part of a game billionaires play? I think it is a game, like you said. Like, it's a chess game, and the rich are getting richer and richer, and the poor are falling for everything. They're pawns in the game, and they're suffering because of it. But all it takes is knowledge and research to wake up, and it will slowly get better, but not enough people are waking up and realising it. So until that starts happening, it's just going to get worse, I'm afraid. But I think it is a game that billionaires play. Does it help people to question what has been reported? For example, people having to verify reports, thereby educating themselves, perhaps. This is what I'm saying. People need to go and do the educating and research themselves, but most people don't want to. I understand you work full time. I understand that you're tired when you get in. But if you want to make a change in the world, in global events, this is what needs to happen. So unless you start putting that effort in, and people coming together for a good cause against the richer, and against the social medias and the newspapers and the news on the telly, it's not going to get any better. I hope I answered your question alright. I don't want to fuck with the real ones.